Dashboards summarize data from other worksheets and often other workbooks. In this movie, I will show you how to create formulas that include links to cells in other workbooks and also other worksheets within the active workbook. I will also demonstrate how to create a hyperlink to allow users to go to specific destinations on the web. My sample file that I'll start with is 0201 links. You can find that in the Chapter 2 folder of the exercise files collection. I also have a second file open, and I'll use Alt-Tab to switch to it. And it is warehouse data, which you should also open, and you can find in the exercise files folder as well. So I'll press Alt-Tab to go back, and I'm on the elements worksheet of 0201 links. In cell B3, I want to create a link to a cell that summarizes gift basket revenue, and I happen to have that in a table on the support tables worksheet of the 0201 links workbook. So I will click the elements sheet tab again to go back, and then in cell B3 I'll type in equal sign. So now I'm entering the formula, and I can create a link to a cell on a separate worksheet by clicking that worksheets tab. So support tables, and you can see the name of the worksheet appears in the formula bar. And the cell I want to use is at the bottom right corner of the table, and that's the grand total for the sales column. To start, I'll click another cell in that same column, so F2, and then to move down, I'll press Control down arrow. And this moves me to the last cell in this column that contains data. And you can also note that the reference in the formula bar has changed. So it points to gift basket sales, which is the name of the table, and then the total row in the sales column. That looks good, so I'll go ahead and press enter. And the value of 67,701 appears in cell B3. You can do the same thing to create a link to a cell in another workbook. So here I will click cell B6, type in equal sign, and now I will go back to the warehouse expenses workbook. So I'll Alt-Tab to go there, and this time I'll just click cell B14 directly, and you can see that the formula bar now contains the address of this cell. Because we're in a different workbook, we have the workbook name at the start in square brackets, followed by the name of the worksheet, and then an exclamation mark, followed by the name of the table, and again, totals row, and the expense column. So that looks good. I'll press enter, and there I have my link. You do need to manage links to external workbooks, so I'll show you how to do that now before I create the hyperlink. I'll click in cell B6, and then on the Data tab of the ribbon, I'll go to the Queries and Connections group and click Edit Links. The Edit Links dialog box appears, and you see that I have a link to warehousedata.xlsx. That's the one that I just created. I have the location of the file, and also at the bottom, I have automatic updating and manual updating. You're not always able to change from automatic to manual updating. However, if you can, and it takes a long time to load, or if you're getting network errors, then do switch to manual, and that will let you keep the value that is currently in the worksheet instead of getting delays from trying to update. Over on the right side of Edit Links, you have update values, which you can use if your data changes frequently. For example, if rows are added to a table, you can edit by changing the source. You can open the source workbook, and in this case, it's already open, so we don't need to do that. You can break the link to the cell in the other workbook, and that will leave you with just the current value, but it won't update anymore. And finally, you can click Check Status. You see that currently status is unknown. If you click Check Status, then you see that we have update level A and status that the source is open. That indicates that everything is ready to go. And if you want, you can look at the other workbook because it's currently active. In this case, I don't need to change anything else, so I'll click Close and continue working. My final task is to create a link to a website. You can also use the same technique to create links to other files or even locations within this workbook, but in this case, I'll just focus on what I think is a very common use. I want to create the link in cell B8, which currently has the text LinkedIn Learning Site. Then I will go to the Insert tab, And then in the links group, I'll click the main body of the link button, and that displays the Insert Hyperlink dialog box. Over on the left, you have a number of different destinations to which you can link. You can link to an existing file or web page, a place in this document. You can also create a new document or set an email address. Clicking an email address link will open your email program with a message, and that can be assigned an address and also a subject line, which of course can be changed. In this case, though, I do want to link to an existing file or web page, and in the address box, I'll type the address for LinkedIn Learning. There we go, linkedin.com/learning, click OK. And you can see that the cell text appears as a hyperlink, which I will click. And my web browser opens to LinkedIn Learning. And from here, I can sign in, or if I were already signed in, I could start looking for courses. Links to external data are very useful, as are links within the workbook and links to resources available on the World Wide Web.